Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the feature race of the final race of the season. We are in the UAE, and I am Zotomo, and I'm accompanied as always by my co-commentator Calamity. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Really looking forward to see how our drivers do in the UAE. It is a really interesting country, might be the best way to put it. Not quite like a lot of the European countries we might experience or North American. Middle Eastern countries have their own little flair to them. Luckily for us and the drivers, there is plenty of English and Latin alphabet about, not only Arabic. So we'll see how that goes. Anything you're expecting or looking forward to in this one?
Well, the UAE generally doesn't have the most coverage. It's not the biggest country either, and it's usually relatively well signed. So I'm expecting pretty much most players to find all of the locations. So it'll just come down to who can pinpoint the best.
Okay, interesting indeed. Our five drivers we have for you today are Max FI round one, Carp round two, Calamity U in round three, M the Basement round four, and me rounding things off in round five. So let's jump into round number one with Max FI. And here's one of those many crazy highways that run around. And as you mentioned, Clemmy, some of those signs right off the bat. The D65.
Yep. At that point, you can just look into Dubai and just look for the D65. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as Dubai is the only major city on the west coast, well, technically Sharjah as well, those two. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they're right next to each other, so you can just look at that stretch of land and kind of look for a road number at that
Mm-hmm.
point.
Yeah, Max pretty much honing right in on it, just like you said. Now it's going to compare some points of interest. And doesn't quite match up, but it has the right feel at least. Some of those buildings aren't really on the map, but some of those are. There we go. It's always weird when like you're zoomed out and like the point of interest are different, and you zoom in and they move and change, and you're
Mm.
like, oh, this is interesting. Managed to get off that highway.
Yeah, it didn't really make much use of it, just pretty much went straight back onto it. But you could
Mm-hmm.
use that to really make sure that you've got the
Yeah.
right area on the highway.
Yeah, and he certainly does, using that side road off that side there, the 7A Street, to get an ace in this one. Only 15 meters off for him, and a very quick round for him as well. Only about a minute and a half. How did everybody else do on this one, Calamity?
Yeah, perfect scores for you and Carp. I dropped 23 points and M the Basement dropped 41.
Yeah, I actually noticed a car dealership on the opposite side of the road, and I used that to pinpoint for me with that one. Okay, well, yeah, a quick round in round number one. Let's see if Carp can keep things going and keep up the pace in round two. And another highway, just you can kind of tell by the development in the country like this, and outside of a city
Mm.
this time.
And it's in the typical sort of landscape that you see anywhere that's not in sort of the main Dubai Sharjah area. So we're
Mm-hmm,
either in the
yeah.
far north or we're somewhere on the eastern side or somewhere randomly in the middle of the country, but definitely not on the west coast.
Yeah. And there's the port of Fajura, which is on the east coast. A very good map in the F19, F40. And there was a roundabout, but as you can see, there are roundabouts everywhere
Yeah.
in this part of town.
It's just an easy way
Yeah.
to connect many different roads. So
Yeah.
in when in the UAE, you kind of don't really have a lot of infrastructure to start with, and you just start building roads. Then roundabouts
Mhm.
just come in handy to put everywhere.
Yeah, I think roundabouts are really hard to squeeze in somewhere if you've already got roads
Yeah.
connecting. But if you're building from scratch, you can use them to your heart's content.
It's also they're
Mhm.
also very nice if you don't have the most sort of traffic because
Mm.
if you have a lot of traffic, then you gotta wait long at a roundabout. Whereas if you have little traffic, then a roundabout is quicker than just putting like a traffic light there.
Mhm. Yeah. Harp seems to have the right road. The trick is, Calamity, this is a very long, straight stretch with very little along it to try to pinpoint.
Yeah, there's pretty much nothing there whatsoever. There's a few houses on the map to the south, but in Street View to the south of you is just like a hill, so you can't actually see any of them. Um,
Yeah.
so you kind of there's really not a lot you can do there. I mean, you can try starting to count clicks, but that might take you forever. And then you get out with like there's 54 clicks to the left and 72 to the right, and then you're like, well, now I'm
Yeah,
still
I could have eyeballed that
yeah, I
anyway,
still
right?
still don't know much more than I did before.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it looks like Carpet's going to do exactly that. Just kind of eyeball it. Well, I'm somewhere in the middle, hoping that 25-meter or so is good enough to put him in that range. He's got about a 50-meter range there. He is pointing at that house. Maybe he thinks that's that construction hut.
Yeah, it could
You can
be.
use that to pinpoint. Yeah, it could be. You never really know.
Yeah.
And we'll see if he clicks that guess button, if he was right. And he is 10 meters. Not too bad at all from him. An ace in this one. But Calamity, very tricky to pinpoint. Everybody else able to keep pace?
Yeah, there's no one of our drivers managed to pinpoint that one exactly. Only 3 people in total got a perfect score there.
Wow, very
And
tough.
you dropped 11 points, Max dropped 19, Basement 20, and I dropped 31.
Yeah, just kind of eyeballing it and hope you get lucky being in the middle of that road somewhere for that one.
Mm.
Well, round 3 is over to you, Calamity. A bit of a rough start. See if you can't start getting some of your aces here in round number 3. And big empty highway again. I know how much you love these.
Yeah. This one's not too bad though, because first of all, there's some great signs right there.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, there's also some buildings off to the east of the main highway, which can help you pinpoint, rather than the
Yeah.
usual highway stuff where like there's nothing to either side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've also got an exit number, exit 79, which will make it easy. There's 67. There's the 79. We know that's 1,000 meters to our sort of south.
Yep.
And yeah, about 30 seconds in, already in that pinpointing. Long curve. There's some side roads and stuff down below
Yep.
the highway.
Here I'm just going south to that exit just to confirm that. I mean, I know it says 79, but you never really know if it's the right one. But yeah.
Yeah, that is right. Not exactly where you can see that road down below us does curve in towards the highway, but then you kind of lose track of it as it gets too close. So that curve you've kind of used to pinpoint is a pretty good guess.
And if I zoom in a bit further, I think some of those houses actually show up on the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few buildings right there. And that will be good enough for you to guess. And since you played so early, Ben's the only one. And yep, 24 meters. Ooh, by the skin of your teeth. But you do finally get an ace in this one, Calamity. Well done. Not the easiest thing to pinpoint, but good use of those buildings.
Yeah, it's actually interesting for me now to watch back because for some reason, like through screen share and then like the monitor brightness and everything, I couldn't actually see those houses on the map right there. But yeah, definitely not as tricky as round 2 to pinpoint, but definitely not an easy 5K there. As shown by our other scores, Carp did manage to get a 5K as well there, but you dropping 12 points, Max dropping 19 points again, 2 19-point drops for Max in a row, and M the Basement dropping 173 points.
Very nice. Well, yeah, these rounds are very fast. The good signs really helping out, and as long as you don't spend too much time trying to pinpoint, these rounds are only taking about a minute or 2 each. We're going to be done with this video before you even know it. Let's get into round 4 and see how M the Basement does. Don't forget, we do have me in round 5.
Yeah,
I don't play fast. So round 5 might be a little bit longer, but we'll see how M the Basement does here in round 4. Another one of those highways and outside of a town, a bit dusty as well.
Yeah, and this is very typical of the far north of the UAE. That kind of camera quality as well, combined with the landscape, mountains towards the east.
Aramis, Amura, also there.
Both of those
Um,
actually like small town parts, I think, mostly of
mhm.
Ras Al Khaimah. They do show up on the map, but you kind of have to look for them a
Okay,
bit.
there we go. The 18. A couple other city names. Belia. And there's the border crossing, Al Dara border crossing with Oman.
Mm.
And let's see if M the Basement is going to be able to track that down. The problem is there is a border to the south with Oman, but he doesn't seem to quite hasn't caught on yet that this is a very northern area.
Yeah, he must have not even read what it says at the bottom there yet. He must just be looking for the E18 because otherwise this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think he is looking for the 18. Now he sees, near the border. There we go. That makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, you could also see up there Al Rams, which he kind of just ignored. And he's
Mm-hmm.
also put himself about 100 kilometers away from the border rather than the 14 it says on the sign.
Yeah. So Steven Rock LLC. Quarry. Quarry? Oh, that's a bunch of phonics that'll make any linguist go crazy.
Yeah, it also tells you below that, though, that it's in Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah, a much better sign. But again, he's really looking way south. What might be throwing him off here, Calamity, is that the E18 actually seems to overlap with the E11 up here. So here we go.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the port, which means we're near the ocean. If my English is not mistaken.
I I don't
Yeah.
actually know. Do you call like a what is it if it's on a lake? Is it not a port anymore?
No, it's like a dock
Okay.
or yeah, a jetty.
And if it's on a river?
Rivers, can rivers have ports?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I think port has to do more with size. If I had to say anything,
Okay.
right? A port is not for your little motorboat that you take out on the weekend, right? It's for ships, real ships. So with cargo and all of that. So.
Mm.
Uh, So yeah, it just really seems he's fixated on this E18 and has kind of ignored the rest of the information he's been given. Under 2 minutes to go here. Finally going to go a bit farther afield, looking for more data to update. He goes right past another sign. But yeah, lots of good clues. Just hasn't quite pieced it all together yet. Looking for that bit of information that's going to make it all click. And his internet's not being helpful. Yeah, it almost feels like you think it's going to get clearer as it loads, and then it doesn't because it's so dusty.
Mm.
Yeah, like, oh no, this is the actual quality. It's not my
Yep.
internet. So there we go. Another one of those blue signs finally coming up. There's some more town names. There's Al Rams. Finally, he realizes 6 to the south. Now he'll disregard that road number. Realize it's not quite right. There we go. That looks more like it. Now, the interesting thing about this location is there's this little connecting median in the middle that he'll need to use to help himself pinpoint. That's the turnoff he's at.
He's only got 30 seconds, though.
Yeah, that truck is in it. You can kind of see that to his left and right. I don't think he's zoomed. Well, he is zoomed in far enough. I don't know if he's spotted it yet. But gonna guess a little bit too far south. 54 meters. Only dropping 14 points, but very, very close and kind of almost like well done because he spent a lot of time looking very far away and unfortunately finds it in the last bit there for him. Everybody else, though, able to find the location, Calamity?
Everybody else not quite able to find a location. Carp didn't. He was 30 kilometers away and therefore dropped 4,000 points. He was kind of in that region where Baseman looked for the longest time, kind of south of Ras Al Khaimah. Everybody
That
else.
road number must have really thrown people off.
Yeah, apparently it did. Everybody else, yeah, 2 5Ks for me at max, and you dropped 7 points.
Uh, I can't pinpoint. If I learned anything from this game is that like we are really good clues to get you like on the road between two intersections or something, and then I just like can't really figure out where exactly we are within 25 meters. Well, let's see if I can redeem myself. I got an ace in round 1. Let's see if that can continue in the final round. And maybe not.
Well,
Long. Oh, well, there's a roundabout pretty close to the south. A very nice, big, fancy roundabout with no side roads.
yeah, kind of pointless to put a roundabout there, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't really connect anything. Looks like it's supposed to connect something eventually, but hasn't been built yet. Very beautiful road, lovely brick sidewalks, palm trees, street lights, but no people.
Absolutely none, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll head on north and see if there's a road connecting it eventually.
Yeah, it kind of looks.
This is yeah.
It kind of looks like it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like your typical area that the UAE thought, oh, we'll build this and then tourists will come, and tourists didn't come. And the ones that did come all came to downtown Dubai.
Yeah. So there we go. Got an intersection here, and we can still see the construction. And now just gonna head a little bit east, see if we can't find some signs. Nope. It's a nice billboard that's empty.
Yeah.
Maybe there's. Oh, there we go. There's a sign. 88. The S nothing. Haven't given it a number yet.
Yeah.
There is an airport, and there's the other major city, Sharjah.
Sharjah, yeah.
There. Sharjah. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, there's a beautiful roundabout, but not quite the right kind. It's a clover. I know we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere somewhere. No roundabout there either.
Nope. I've still got 3 minutes. That's plenty of time to find the right roundabout.
Yeah.
Even if you have to eliminate everyone one by one.
There we go. Oh, there we go. This road looks right. Going kind of northeast, curves pretty straight north. I don't remember that. There we go. Probably it. Just which one of these roads is it? Yeah. We're here somewhere. Having already played it, of course, watching back, you're kind of like, yeah, it is pretty obvious where we are.
Yep.
But, in the heat of the moment, you're not quite sure. Again, we haven't really seen any numbers except that I know I'm just south of the 88. So.
It does tell you the exit there, doesn't it?
It did. I didn't think I noticed that. I didn't even notice it now. I was too worried about the names and the. So there is something down there. And that must be it. And unfortunately, it's only in Arabic.
Yeah.
Called a suburb, but I don't see much of anything actually down there.
Yeah, there isn't much, is there? No.
Yeah. And long southwesterly road. Yep, that's about it. I think I will actually hit this roundabout down here just to confirm. Yeah, and desert. So it is really remarkable to see some of the transformation these areas have had. Like you hit a dead end and it's just like sprawling desert, and you realize, wow, they really transformed the area.
Yeah.
So now, not that roundabout. Now, how close are we to the actual little bend there? That'll be the trick for pinpointing. Unfortunately, no trees along the side of the road, or we could count those. That would have been nice.
I mentioned it earlier during my round, but I love how well I'm screen sharing this from you. Whenever you open the map, all I can see is just white with no contrast between anything.
Well, actually, it looks pretty much like that on my own map. It's just white.
Yeah.
With slightly different white for the road. So, yeah, I guess you can't really see. I am on the road. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use every bit of time here trying to get as close as I can. And yeah, again, pretty much just wasting time talking to myself. And if you watch the video about what's going on, and time will expire. And ooh, there we go, an ace, 4 meters away. Spending that extra minute or two did eventually pay off. Probably a bit of luck, but my pinpointing finally showing up in the final round. Yeah, so Calamity, not too tough, just north of that roundabout. How did everybody else do to finish things out?
5Ks for everyone except Basin, who had already not had the greatest of games, and 5.5 kilometers away there at the end.
I see. Yeah, so how did everybody actually do towards their final scores for this one? I assume, given what we saw today, a very high scoring round, but maybe not too many perfect games, if any.
Yeah, no perfect games around here. You dropped 30 points, Max dropped 38, I dropped 54, and then we dropped down a bit, Basement dropping 1,500 points roughly, and Carp dropped about 4,000 points, all of which were dropped in that round 4.
Yeah, so some very good scores indeed. Well, thank you all for watching this final map. If you want to check out how the standings finished up and how the Constructor Challenge also finished up, how those team matchups did, head over to our channel and you can watch the other video, the show video we have already up on the channel for that one, and find out the scores. And yeah, thank you all for watching this entire season. We will be back with another one in a couple of months, probably after Reddit League finishes up. But don't worry, we will bring you some more Formula G in the future, and we'll see you all then. Take care.
Bye.